Right now.
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 Because it's time to write now.
Right now.
Right
Right now.
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 Because it's time to write now.
Right now.
Right
Right now.
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 Because it's time to write now.
Right now.
Right
Right now.
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 Because it's time to write now.
Welcome, my friends, to another late night writing session. Today, as in all days, we're going to get some writing in, as we always do. Let's see, episode 420 of Kaufman Writes, day 684, as we are approaching 700 consecutive streams. So what we're going to do is I'm going to push myself into writing. I almost called it off. I was like, I almost didn't get into the writing vibe, but here's the motto. As we all know it, you probably know it just as well. If you don't feel like writing, write anyway. So we're going to push. We're going to see. Feel free to come join me if you want to come join a little co-working session. I am working on I keep saying difficult chapter. I don't actually think the chapter is difficult. I'm just fixing. I just didn't want to do the work for fixing this one chapter. But we're going to push into it. I think I made some good progress last night. And let's see what we see. So to push, and we're going to see just what I can accomplish. I think this chapter kind of has hints and elements of I think it's going in a much better direction. This chapter is basically setting up the mission for my hero at the beginning of Act 2. So feel free to kick back, relax, listen along, drop a comment, don't drop a comment, whatever your vibe is. This is my process as I work on draft 3 of The Last Scarecrow. Okay. All right, let's do it. A brilliant white light flashed in all directions as Scarecrow collapsed onto a pile of dirt. In the blink of an eye, the world had changed drastically. No longer was he in the confines of the Red Tower. He rose, finding himself before a giant water fountain that spewed a golden, sparkling substance. He bent over to scoop up a handful, but the liquid passed through his hands. Looking first at his palms, then the rest of his body. Was he transparent? Swiping his hands through his chest only added to the unease. He turned to survey his surroundings. New city rose around him, the homes no longer in ruins, while the pristine silver walls surrounding the city stood tall and glistening in the sun. Screens surrounding the homes no longer in ruins, while the pristine silver walls surrounding the city stood tall and glistening in the sun. Screens with strange flashing images speckled many of the homes' exteriors. Beneath him was a concrete, gray, rocky substance. Painted, dotted yellow and white lines zipped by in either direction. A door opened nearby as a creator with plain hair, freckles, and a fair complexion popped their head out. Scarecrow waved at them, but there was no acknowledgement. The creator seemed in a hurry as they shut the door and rushed down the dotted path. Many creators of different shapes and sizes, some families, some alone, passed by in various directions, all in a rush to be elsewhere. Welcome, a deep metallic voice reverberated. To the beginning of the end, Scarecrow. Where our Scarecrow trailed off as he found himself face to face with the last robot, whose appearance had also greatly changed. The robot's angular body, no longer rusted, was sleek silver without a dent. The lights, dials, and buttons beeped steadily without delay. There was a near shiny gloss to its appearance, as if it were brand new. How are you? A roar of thunder drowned out his words, as a beast that wasn't a beast flew through them. Atop the beast rode a creator, coat flapping in the wind beside him. Atop the beast rode a creator, coat flapping in the wind. Beside him, the last robot, who clung onto a bundle fiercely. Scarecrow tried to cover his head, but again his hands passed through him. Scarecrow tried to cover his head, but again his hands passed through. Listen, watch, and absorb. The last robot's words echoed all around him. Each syllable articulate and precise. The last robot's words echoed. Each syllable articulate and precise. Scarecrow felt himself pushed aside as if by a mighty invisible force of wind. As if by a force, as if by a mighty, as if by a force, as if by a force of wind. He stumbled sideways, tumbling through the closest wall. Rolling forward, he stopped himself as he landed in a grand oval room. He stood, trying to rub his eyes as both hands passed through his face. Lining the room were pillars and magnificent statues, shaded in various colors. Adorning the walls were paintings of all shapes and sizes, hinting at far-off places. A glass window made up the entire ceiling. Outside, an eclipsed sun darkened the sky, while snow pattered against the pane. A low, wolf-like growl shifted his attention to the center of the room, where a group of 3 creators perched on stumps atop a dais. Each of these 3 creators, one crowned, one in golden furs, and the other in metals. Each of these 3 creators, one crowned, one in golden furs, and one clad in metal. And one clad in metal, whispered amongst themselves. Standing proudly before them was a tall, scrawny man. Standing proudly before them was a tall, scrawny man with a scraggly beard. Standing proudly before them was a tall, scrawny man with a long, scraggly beard. Standing proudly before them was a tall, scrawny man with a long, scraggly beard, with a long, ragged beard, in a brown leather coat, hood pulled over his face, in a brown coat, let's go black coat, in a black coat, hood pulled over his face. His knee-length boots squeaked as he stepped forward, pointing as he shouted, "I don't give a damn what's left." His stance hardened as he refused to back down. Hatred, scorn, and disdain lined the 3 creators' hawk-like eyes. Each of them wore extravagant furs and hides stained with spots of gold and red. The short one, the metal creator, the short one in metals, spat, "You've cursed us to damnation, betrayer." "Our decision is final," the middle creator barked as he rose, adjusting the golden crown atop his head while smoothing his furs. Calmly, the blonde creator in golden furs leaned forward and hissed, "Begone, betrayer. Take the monster with you. Take the scraps. Take the scraps. Take the scraps with you. Begone, betrayer. Take the scraps with you." Let's go and take the scraps with you. This creator, feminine in nature, nodded to the other end of the room. The last robot stood just beyond the betrayer, cradling something small and swathed in blankets. Scarecrow waved, but was left ignored. It felt strange seeing his creators alive and in the flesh, yet somehow the scene felt hollow, empty, and devoid of life, as if he was watching it through a lens. He tried to scratch his head, but his hand passed through again. Frustrated, he held his arms to either side. The last robot strode to the betrayer's side in 3 steps. The lights along its body lit up as it spoke with calculated precision. "Need we remind the Council of facts? Without a defined, sustainable solution, humanity..." "Fuck off, trash," the metal creator roared. The metal creator roared. The metal one. I don't think we need creator. The metal one roared. "Where is our promised salvation?" the golden-furred female hissed. The leader hopped off the platform towards them as his crown fell off, bounced on the floor, and rolled away into the shadows unseen. and rolled away into shadows unseen. He hunched his legs and growled. The other two rose and tiptoed down the platform, forming a triangle. Their looks, haunted at first, diminished with each step. Their looks, haunted at first, diminished with each step. They prowled towards them. They prowled towards. They prowled down the dais. They prowled down the dais, eyes glowing with rage. With each step, their demeanor became feral. Their demeanor becoming their eyes. And I think I actually say that again. I don't think I need that there. I refuse to harm you, the betrayer cried. He reached over his shoulder to retrieve a staff, its edges adorned with glowing blood-red crystals. Stay back, please. You were warned, betrayer. The leader rolled his neck, eyeing him dangerously. Eyeing them dangerously. The leader rolled his neck with eyes of daggers. The leader rolled his neck with eyes of daggers. Golden Fur whispered. Let's see, what did I refer to her as before? The golden fur whispered. Isn't a fight what you wanted? She cackled and bit into her thumb. The metal one growled. So, metal growled. So, hungry. He fished two weapons from his belt and tossed them aside. They slid across the room, clattering. He hunched down onto all fours. I surmise the odds of survival without loss, less than 4%. I recommend retreat. Recommend retreat. The last robot chirped, stepping back. The betrayer followed suit as he gripped the staff with both hands, while the last robot held tight to the bundle. The Council of Three prowled forward like a pack of animals. Their humanity washed away, diminished with each step. Their humanity washed away with each step, becoming feral, savage. Let's go diminish. Their humanity diminished with each step, becoming feral, savage. Growling and hissing ensued. The betrayer and the last robot were backed into a corner of the room. Reluctantly, the betrayer slammed the butt of the staff down. A white light leaked through his grip, and a circular shockwave rippled from the staff, ground first. The council was sent sprawling onto their stomachs. The betrayer breathed deeply, fear intermingled with relief. From the ground, the leader laughed. Will magic tricks be enough to save you, science? I don't think we need a nickname there, actually. Will magic tricks be enough to save you? He let out a sharp whistle, forcing the betrayer to cover his ears and stumble to the ground. From the rafters above, a midnight black eagle pierced the air and ripped the staff from the betrayer's hands. The bird tossed the weapon away as it rolled into the shadows. Need I repeat myself? The last robot asked, as if waiting for precise directions. The betrayer gritted his teeth. In unison, the Council of Three jumped onto all fours. They leaned back onto their hind legs and howled. Kill them, the leader roared. The leader leaped at the betrayer with a look of rage and hunger. The leader leaped enraged. The leader leapt at the betrayer. Enraged, the leader leapt at the betrayer. Hunger and desperation clung to his face like a leapt forward. Actually, let's go. Enraged, the leader leapt forward. Hunger and desperation clinging to his face like a plague. The betrayer held his arms to either side protectively, ready for the inevitable assault. From within the last robot's grasp, the bundle of blankets unraveled as a creature shot out in a red blur. As a creature the size of a the size of a which would be a good size? The bundle of blankets unraveled as a creature the size of a sack. I don't know if I like that, but the bundle of blankets unraveled as a creature the size of a sack shot out in a red blur and latched onto the leader's face, clawing him chaotically. The leader tried to lift an arm and howl, but he collapsed to the floor, dead, his face a bloody mess. The two remaining creators snarled. However, they were no match. The tiny creature shot forward like a bullet at the metal creator, latching onto his face and clawing him in much the same manner. He slammed on the floor. He slammed on the floor with a thud as a little creature landed atop him and perched on his corpse. The metal one slammed on the floor with a thud as the little creature landed atop him and perched on his corpse. The golden furred creator crawled backward as her rage dissipated, giving way to fear. She scampered away. The golden furred creator crawled backward as her rage dissipated, giving way to fear. She scampered away on all fours. The betrayer and the last robot stood, shocked, unable to react. The betrayer's face was a mixture of rage, fear, and sadness as tears streamed down his cheeks, soaking his scraggly chest-length beard. His untenable beard. The last robot turned to Scarecrow, its mouth left agape. I didn't know, it repeated as if on an end. The last robot turned to Scarecrow, its mouth left agape. I couldn't calculate. It repeated as if on an endless loop, as if stuck on an endless loop. Scarecrow backed away as he stumbled unexpectedly through the wall. He fell onto his back as a family of creators dashed past him. Scarecrow backed away as he stumbled unexpectedly through the wall. He fell onto his back as a family of creators dashed past him. Outside, Scarecrow backed away as he stumbled unexpectedly through the wall. Outside, he fell onto his back as a family of creators dashed past him. And suddenly collapsed to the ground. Outside, he fell onto his back as a family of creators dashed past him and suddenly collapsed to the ground, bleeding. Holes through their chests. Outside, he fell onto his back as a family of creators dashed past him and suddenly collapsed to the ground, bleeding, holes through their chest. A tiny red blur rocketed past their remains. The tiny red blur rocketed past their remains. Rocketed past their remains. As The tiny red blur rocketed past the remains as every creator within eyesight fell, collapsed like dominoes. The red blur the creature moving from creator to creator, from the creature moving from victim to victim faster than Scarecrow could process. The creators fell in waves. The creature shot through their chests, their heads, their limbs like paper. The courtyard instantly. The courtyard suddenly a graveyard of bloody destruction. Scarecrow screamed, unable to steady his shaking hands as he stumbled. Scarecrow screamed, unable to steady his shaking hands as he stumbled to his feet and ran away. He flew past silver homes smeared in blood. He darted through stalls decorated with the corpses of creators. He tumbled through an open courtyard as a group of young creators fled, screaming and crying. They didn't last long as a red blur passed through them, and they were no more. Wherever he ran, the tiny horror was everywhere. Scarecrow skidded to a halt, grabbed his chest as he watched the tiny red blur pass him in all directions. His breathing was heavy. His face was soaked. His limbs trembled. Everything inside of him shut down. He should go back to the field and never leave again. Maybe if he took the hat off, he could leave it all behind. He reached for it with no luck, his fingers passing through the brim. Closing his eyes only left him with the screams of the dying. Closing his eyes only left him to the screams of the dying. The shrieks of the dying. Closing his eyes only left him to the shrieks of the dying. The only thing he could think to do was rise up as he screamed, "Stop." Opening his eyes, the red blur landed atop a crater's bloodied remains, but this time the creature crawled off the remains as tiny blood-red crystals rose up where the claw marks had been. As tiny blood-red crystals grew where the claw marks had been. As it crawled away from the corpse, footprints left behind crystallized formations in its wake. Footsteps and screams echoed in all directions. As it crawled away from the corpse, footprints left behind crystallized formations in its wake. And only silence. As it crawled away from the corpse, footprints left behind crystallized formations in its wake. The creature stopped, craned its neck, and looked directly at Scarecrow. The creature stopped. The tiny creature, nearly a quarter of his size, stopped, craned its neck, and looked directly at Scarecrow. Nearly a quarter of Scarecrow's size, stopped, craned its neck, and looked directly at him. A deep, thought-provoking expression flitted across its angular features. Varying shades of red mastered its complexion, and nightmare come to life. Scarecrow lost himself in its mesmerizing, wide-eyed gaze. Scarecrow. Scarecrow. It spoke to him without Scarecrow. It spoke at him without ever opening its mouth, without ever opening, without ever moving its lips. He recognized the same, the pull, the pull he felt the pull. The same irresistible pull from the market. The same irresistible pull from like before. He felt the pull. The same irresistible pull like before. Fear gripped him like a vice. But maybe it could go away. But maybe it could go away. Before he could step forward. Before he could move. The creature sniffed the air, turned away, and unfurled black wings thrice its size. It flew up into the sky, disappearing beyond the clouds in a flash of red. This was the last moment I encountered the first demon. All that time ago. Scarecrow felt a hand on his shoulder. He looked up into the last robot's bright eyes, which cast a look of infinite sadness. Blood splattered. The blood splattered the last robot's shell. He looked up into the blood splattered. Actually, let's do that better. He looked up into the last robot's. He looked up into the blood splattered face of the last robot. Its eyes, its bright eyes casting a look of infinite sadness. How our creator, Scarecrow, stuttered, lost for words. The last robot shook its head, blinking. Like fireworks, those eyes flashed a brilliant light as the ground gave way and Scarecrow fell, the city of death disappearing above him. Yep. All right. Well, that seems definitely much creepier. I think it works. I think it works. I think it can continue to be tweaked. I think there's line style edits where it can continue to be tweaked, but I think the scene works. By the way, I saw you guys hop in, by the way. I was just in the middle of that reading. Francisco, Nil, Vomika, Dark. Always great to see all y'all, my friends. Hopefully the writing vibe is treating all you well, because I do not feel like writing this evening. But as we know, we don't feel like writing. We write anyway. All right, I'm going to try to see if I can push through this chapter. Okay. So that was the first 2 beats of the chapter. And then I want to say this chapter has 4 major beats. So, all right, beat number 3. All right. Scarecrow plummeted through an endless sky of silver-hued clouds that moved like cogs in a machine. Air rushed past him, yet he felt nothing. Fearful of losing his hat, he gripped it unsuccessfully. Every straw in his body protested. Every part of his being felt empty, hollow. The first demon's rise marked the end of humanity. The last robot's voice, the last robot said, the last robot said, its voice echoing across the endless sky, from everywhere and nowhere, all at once. Decades became centuries. Centuries became ages. And then ages. Decades became centuries. Centuries became ages. And ages forgot. Decades became centuries. Centuries became ages. And ages forgot. Decades became centuries. Centuries became ages. And ages became forgotten. Decades became centuries. Centuries became ages. And ages became forgotten. Okay. I was like, that actually sounds good. It's like, that works. Rule of 3. All right. Scarecrow passed by a velvet cloud that shimmered as an image formed within. Scarecrow passed by a velvet cloud that shimmered as an image formed within, like watching a movie story unfold. Scarecrow passed by a velvet cloud that shimmered as an image formed within, like watching a moving story unfold. Bodies of the creators piled high as their remains crystallized. The cloud dispersed. Then the cloud dispersed. Then the cloud dispersed as Scarecrow kept falling, left to his thoughts, his dread, and his uncertainty. The first demon, the last robot's words, the last robot said, each word echoing, echoing with growing unease. Scarecrow fell past another cloud as an image within it shifted yet again. This time, only the silhouette of those black onyx wings unfurled, as the rest of the first demon's form was cast in shadows. Consumed all those who rose up. The last robot's words carried through the endless sky near and far. I think I've set that up, consumed. I think I've set that up where his words are echoing. I don't think I need that. I think I made it clear that the robot is the one speaking. Consumed all those who rose up. In the clouded image, animals of all species, shapes, and sizes, tigers, birds, and squirrels charged at the first demon. Tigers, birds, what's a really large animal? Tigers, birds, and let's see, what's largest animals. Let's see, what are large ones? Let's go bears. Tigers, birds, and bears. Charged at the first demon. All fought, all collapsed, turning into beds of crystals. None survived. Scarecrow plummeted through the cloud as it dispersed around him. He shivered, but not because of the cold. When he passed through the cloud to the other side, another silver cloud, the size of a mountain, rose up beneath him. Within its borders, an image of new city formed. And with the demon came. New cities' structures were erect, the buildings full and wildlife peppered all corners of its twists and turns. A canal of water filled all the streets of the dome city. Howls, caws, and other vibrant animal sounds echoed from below. The city tops were wild and full of life. Above New City, the sky erupted in a circular torrent of clouds. A blinding white beam erupted from the heavens, piercing the animal civilization. Left behind was the destruction Scarecrow knew all too well, and silence. Hundreds, maybe even thousands gone. Instantly. The nothingness. All right, let's see. I think I have to make this a little. I think I have to make this beat a little shorter in between. New city structures were erect, the buildings full, and wildlife peppered all corners of his twists and turns. Left behind was destruction and silence. Hundreds, maybe even thousands gone instantly. Let's see. So let me see if this makes sense. And with the demon came, new city structures were erect, the buildings full and wildlife peppered all corners of its twists and turns, peppered all corners of its maze. A canal of water. New city structures were erect, the buildings full and wildlife peppered all corners of its maze. The domed new city. Let me think. I think I can put those into one sentence. I feel that. Yeah, it sounds like you said you're not feeling like writing after listening to an author update from Novel Marketing Channel. Hearing about Gemini and Gmail got me upset. Yeah, and I mean, I think regardless, even with like any like AI stuff, regardless of what's going on, my recommendation to people is always just figure out how to tune out the noise. Like stuff can get annoying and frustrating, but none of that matters right now. The only thing that matters is writing and finishing the book. Once the books are finished, once we are out there, then we can focus on the other things. That's always my my recommendation, because it's so easy to get distracted because there's so much noise out there. Okay, so actually, I think I can fix this. So within its borders, an image of new city formed with tall tree-like buildings, canals of water, and within its borders, an image of new city formed with tall tree-like buildings, canals of water, and with tall tree-like buildings and canals of water. And canals of water. Howls, caws, and other vibrant animal sounds echoed from below. So actually, I think all right, so I think we got to adjust this slightly. So let's see. So consumed all those who rose up. In the clouded image, animals of all species, shapes, and sizes, tigers, birds, and bears, charged the first demon. All fought, all collapsed, turning into beds of crystals. None survived. Scarecrow plummeted through the cloud as it dispersed around him. He shivered, but not because of the cold. When he passed through the cloud to the other side, another silvered cloud the size of a mountain rose up beneath him. Within its borders, an image of new city formed with tall tree-like buildings and canals of water. Howls, caws, and other vibrant animal sounds echoed from below. Howls, caws, and other vibrant animal sounds echoed from within. Within a city full of life. Howls, caws, and other vibrant animal sounds echoed from within a city full of life, full of animal life. And with the demon came. Above New City, the sky erupted in a circular torrent of clouds. A blinding white beam erupted from the heavens, piercing the animal civilization. Left behind was destruction. Left behind were ruins, destruction, and silence. Hundreds, maybe even thousands, gone. The nothingness. The cloud dispersed as Scarecrow plummeted lifelessly through the endless sky. It felt like all of the air had been sucked from his body. How does one describe terror? He struggled to breathe. How could? What was? Why? and then this is the one part of the timeline I have to figure out. But okay. But the last nah. But the last creators but the last creators the last creator left behind, but the last creator left behind a promise and a gift. Left behind a promise and a gift. Within a deep midnight blue cloud, let's see, the cloud dispersed. Then we need to continue Scarecrow's action. A scarecrow fumbled blindly. Scarecrow fumbled blindly as he fell without Scarecrow fumbled blindly as he fell without hope and full of fear. Nope, we have to do this. Has to be after. We have to set up Scarecrow, reaching the next cloud. Scarecrow fumbled blindly as he fell without hope and full of fear. A cloud. Two clouds. A circle of clouds. A circle of clouds. Clouds circled up. Clouds rose up, circling him from all directions as images flashed within. But the last creator left behind a promise and a gift. An image of the betrayer and the last robot peered from atop the tower. With the staff, an image. Let's see, sorry, showing them all as images. An image of the betrayer and the last robot peered from atop the tower. An image of the betrayer's staff. An image of the betrayer's staff pointing at the sky as a barrier of orange brilliance. Rose high over the city, shimmering against nature's chaotic elements. An image, but the creator. But the last creator, actually. But the last creator left behind a promise and a gift. An image of the betrayer's staff pointing at the sky as an image of the betrayer's staff pointing at the sky as a bearer of orange brilliance shielded the city. As a domed bearer of orange brilliance shielded the city, shimmering against nature's chaotic elements. Left behind a gift and a promise. And a promise. All right, and I need to clean this up. An image of the betrayer holding out a neatly folded quilt. An image of the betrayer holding out a neatly folded quilt as it came to life. As it came to life, landing atop the last robot's head. And a promise that the quilt was a safeguard. Quilt. All right. right, this is interesting. All right, so interesting. All right, I'm moving on to the last beat. I don't know if this is. I'm hoping that this the way I'm wording all this is actually going to work. I guess we're going to find out. All right. Wow. All right. So we definitely had to do a lot of adjusting. Oh man. Oh man, what a chapter. I don't know if it works or not, but we'll find out. I mean, like the meat of the chapter I knew still worked, but I had to adjust the visuals and try to make it a little bit more straightforward. I know some now the writing style is going to be a little bit more straightforward and simple, but it has to make sense and the reader can't get lost. So, all right, that's what I got for today, my friends. I knew like if I pushed that I could I knew if I pushed I could finish that chapter. Oh my goodness, what a co-working sesh. Man, I'm gonna have to re-review that chapter tomorrow and make sure it actually works. Yeah. Oh god, I got so much to do. All right, my friends, that's all that I got for you. Then we got some solid writing in. We got some solid work. So everyone, thank you so much for joining today. I'll be back tomorrow at some time when we feel like it. We'll see if it's an afternoon or another late night writing sprint. But everyone, thank you so much for joining. If you enjoyed the stream, don't forget to tap that like button. And yeah, tap that like button. Help us show the algorithm that writing streams are cool. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me on this late night writing sesh. Hopefully you got some inspiration, maybe some writing vibes or something else in between. But unfortunately, that brings us to the end of the stream. Don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kaufman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers. Words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kaufman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers. It's time to write.
Right now.
Sorry.
Right now, not right now, but right now. Read now, right now.